Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 6:07. Thanks for joining us here on this Thursday morning. It's a busy one. Coming up at 7:05, the chairman of the RNC and now candidate for Senate in North Carolina, Michael Whatley. 7:35, Anna Giratelli of the Washington Examiner. 8:05, it's the Lieutenant Governor of Virginia and the candidate for governor, Winsome Sears. And then at 8:35, KT McFarland. I'm Larry O'Connor alongside Bethany Mandel. Morning, Bethany.
Good morning, Larry O'Connor. How are
Thank you very much. I was worried about you for a second there. Joining us right now, friend of the program, Sean Kennedy. He's the president of Virginians for Safer Communities. Oh, he's calling back. Well, good. It'll be good for him to call back. I don't know why he wanted to slam the phone down. Real fast, let's hear from Donald Trump yesterday as he was making the announcement or participating in the announcement at the Kennedy Center for the Kennedy Center honorees. He was asked by a reporter about the controversy over him, wanting D.C. to be safer.
The Democrats are afraid to do anything because they don't want to be criticized. But fighting crime is a good thing. We have to explain. We're going to fight crime. That's a good thing. Already they're saying he's a dictator. The place is going to hell, and we've got to stop it. So instead of saying he's a dictator, they should say we're going to join him and make Washington safe. But
that would be good politics, certainly. Sean Kennedy, why can't they do that? Why this knee-jerk reflex, oh, no, he's lying, it's not really that bad, when obviously crime has been a growing concern? You and I talk about it almost every other week on this show for the last half a decade.
Yeah, I mean, I actually used to work at CNN, and one of my bosses was S.C. Cupp, and I have disagreements with S.C. Cupp, but she actually was great on CNN last night, and she said, I have to break it to you, stop being so dumb and telling the voters that what they believe is wrong. Like Democrats, you can't just be, look at these numbers. Look at these numbers. I know you don't feel safe, but you are safe. Look at this chart. And that's
right.
Exactly.
Forget about the fact that you have to look over your shoulder because you're about to get stabbed when you get off the subway. No. But this chart says things are fine.
No, the chart. I mean, the chart. Did you not see the chart? Feel safe. That's kind of where we are right now. Is no, he's lying. I mean, don't believe your lying eyes is really where we are. I mean, it's kind of this absurdity where, and I've used this analogy before. It's like we climbed Mount Everest and we're on K2. Which is a slightly shorter mountain. And you're like, well, we came way down, man. This isn't sea level, people. This isn't sea level. This isn't normal. There are more homicides. There's actually like 30% more homicides so far this year in early August than there were in 2012. There were like 80 homicides around, I think it was 79 homicides in 2012. And now there are 105. So what are you telling me that we're safer? We're not safer than we were in 2012. We're safer than it when it was the battle days in 2023. Like, this is not safe.
Yeah. So speaking of not safe and don't believe your lying eyes, what I think a lot of Americans are not cognizant of is the degree with which the folks in D.C. are cooking the books. The D.C. commander that is on leave for manipulating them. Can you get into that a little bit? Because this story is, in my opinion, extremely undercovered in sort of legacy mainstream media.
Yeah, it's fascinating, but the back and forth about why he's suspended for manipulating crime data is almost too complicated. It involves like three-way retaliation about his wife getting moved and then him filing a complaint, and then suddenly he's found to be manipulating crime data when, in fact, he may not be the one who actually ordered him to manipulate crime data. So it's a whole different thing because the D.C. Police Union says they have the receipts proving that this is a systemic thing where they're downgrading crime. But the accusation is effectively that certain offenses, there's pretty much 2 or 3 offenses that this can be done with, where you can take a crime and downgrade it from a serious felony to a less serious felony. And when it comes out of the overall violent crime category and goes into the property crime category or into a more minor misdemeanor offense, then it falls off those top line numbers that the Democrats love their chart so much about. And in this case, aggravated assault becomes simple assault. So that's a serious felony, becomes a minor felony, and robbery becomes either theft or even something less. And in some instances, there were accusations going back to 2019 and 2020 in D.C. where there were shootings, attempted murder. Someone was shot with a gun, and the cops come to the scene. There are 15 witnesses saw it. It was in broad daylight. This is in Trinidad neighborhood, if anyone knows where that is. And they shoot a guy on a porch. The guy is himself obviously a ne'er-do-well, and the old ladies who see it are talking to the cops or whatever, and then they start interviewing him, and he's like, F you, I'm not going to da-da-da-da-da-da. So what does the police report say? Injured, taken to the hospital. It's not even a crime anymore, and that's exactly what the new accusations are saying, is that this is happening in other instances where an unsolvable crime, in this case an attempted murder, gets downgraded into a non-crime.
It's a remarkable, and again, I've seen a turn, and you're right. S.E. Cupp is challenging sometimes on a lot of issues, but I think she was a key indication that at CNN and at MSNBC, at least in the Washington bureaus, we're actually seeing some sort of come to Jesus moment here, if I may, where they're not able to just continue the gaslighting, Sean. We had some more legitimate reporting on the reality of the situation on the ground here. So I guess the question here is, what's the next step? Everybody knows that, yes, increased reinforcements from federal law enforcement will make for a short-term solution in terms of having a presence there and sort of sending a message. But ultimately, fundamental changes need to take place in how D.C. addresses criminals. Well,
you just used a word that's very important there, fund. And what I mean by that is not fund the police, fund the prosecutors. Jeanine Pirro said the other day that she's short 90 prosecutors. 90 prosecutors. I have a friend who I won't name who's in a very large jurisdiction in the United States that has a lot of crime and a lot of illegal immigrants, a lot of these problems, and there's been some unrest there and all these other things. And he tells me that they're down 75 prosecutors, federal prosecutors.
Wow.
Get this, though, and I'm talking straight to these guys at OMB. They have decided that they're putting a freeze on backfilling vacancies, even at DOJ. Stop the insanity. You want to attack crime? You need people to prosecute the people who do it. And that includes the D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office. It includes other U.S. Attorney's offices where there's vacancies. Fill the prosecutors' roles and fill the judges' roles here in D.C. Superior Court. You could put good guys in. I was in the Senate that actually oversaw the confirmation process for D.C. Superior Court. The reason it's terrible is because even my boss didn't give a flying hoot what was going on with D.C. Superior Court judges. So terrible people got put on the thing without any kind of oversight. That we didn't even look into their backgrounds. The majority Democrats were in charge then. They just sent out a staff memo and everyone voted aye at markup, and then it went to the floor and en banc they voted for all of them. Every one of these terrible judges was never reviewed except for by a handful of staff, and everyone ignored us, and that's where we are now.
All right, well, thank you for that deep dive. One other real quick question. It seems like the crux of a lot of the numbers here have to do with how juveniles are prosecuted. What does it take to change that provision on how juveniles are treated?
Well, I mean, it would take the D.C. Council if we go through normal means, but there's nothing stopping the Congress from amending the Home Rule Act. The Home Rule Act is not in the Constitution of the United States. It is a statute of the U.S. Congress and the Senate and the President. We can change the Home Rule Act and just start adding stuff to D.C. code. Like just say you don't have the authority to make this law, and we just change it. So they could do this in the House right now, put in a bill saying, no, the juvenile crime statute in D.C. is this. We have jurisdiction. Eat it.
Sean Kennedy, Virginians for Safer Communities. Thanks for joining us this morning. It's always a great conversation.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
You know, you see what shirt I'm wearing today, Bethany. You see what it says. Detroit, that's right. Any good Detroit kid of my generation knows that song right there, that was recorded at Cobo Hall in downtown Detroit, 1977, I want to say. That's in the Kiss Alive album, which includes the landmark song Detroit Rock City. Kiss, Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, Peter Criss, and Ace Frehley. Whew, that was close. I almost forgot the fourth member of the original Kiss.
Wow, that would have been embarrassing for you.
That would have been awful. They have been officially now named as Kennedy Center honorees. Who would have expected that? KISS will be honored at the Kennedy Center. I love it. Alongside Sylvester Stallone, a British actor Michael Crawford, who, I could go on and on about Michael Crawford. He's a big theater guy. I'll go into him for a moment for people who don't know who he is. And country singer George Strait and the disco queen Gloria Gaynor will all be honored at the Kennedy Center. President Trump participated in the announcement yesterday. Okay, you know who Gloria Gaynor is, right?
Yeah.
Let's hear it. Cut 7. Let's go. This was my ex-wife's go-to karaoke song.
I mean, it's a great song. We're talking a lot about your ex-wife this morning.
I know. What's that all about? She actually, I should have known. She sang this at our wedding reception with the band. I should have. It's like, why is she singing I Will Survive?
So I think this is a good song for President Trump. This is like maybe one of his anthems.
Oh, it's great.
Everyone thought he was down. But what I think is interesting is also I like people who participate in these things under Trump because it shows how brave they are. And Gloria Gaynor she's
a survivor.
Yeah, she's living it out. Because, all these people get canceled for participating in anything Trump adjacent.
So probably the least known name on this list is Michael Crawford. He is a British actor, and he's very well known in England. He's known here. You just don't know that you know him. He was the original Phantom in Phantom of the Opera on Broadway. He's the one who originated Music of the Night and
They're
all
of
those
manifesting
amazing songs.
their entertainment personas.
Yeah. He, Trump loves Andrew Lloyd Webber. All of his early rallies at the beginning, before YMCA took off, he would always play songs from Cats and Phantom of the Opera. He loves Music of the Night. Michael Crawford, also, you will know him in the late 70s. He had a string of Hollywood musicals. He played Cornelius Hackle, the romantic lead in the movie version of Hello, Dolly with Barbra Streisand. And he was the romantic lead in the movie adaptation of A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. He was also a regular sitcom actor in England for a very long time on some BBC sitcoms. A really great guy, by the way. And I have no idea about his political affiliation. I'm guessing since he's an actor of that era, he might very well be a Margaret Thatcher Tory, as is Andrew Lloyd Webber, by the way. So that's pretty cool that there's a theater giant there with some Hollywood roots, especially considering how the American theater community has been so despicable toward Donald Trump with his new management of the Kennedy Center.
Speaking of which, Rick Grinnell posted yesterday, I wanted to flag it, that him and Trump basically have been, Rick Grinnell is going to be the savior of the Kennedy Center.
Yes.
And he posted that the Kennedy Center is physically and financially not doing well, but Trump got Congress to allocate $257 million to save it. I think it's fantastic. It's this is such a landmark thing of our country, and to save it on right before America 250 is so important. And
yes.
You'd think that the arts community would be cheering that, but I only heard about this allocation from Rick Grinnell. No one else in the arts community.
One other thing about KISS, by the way, real quickly, as you know, Gene Simmons, he used to describe himself in the early days as just a nice Jewish boy with a very conservative Jewish mother. And that was before he revealed who he was under his demon makeup and everything. But he's just a menschy guy. And the Israel issue, Hamas conflict, has become a bit of a red pill moment for him over the years.
Interesting. I had no idea.
He's pretty outspoken supporter of Israel, and he's been outspoken against the protesters. He tries to curb the language. He's like, all these college protests, they may be well-intentioned, but they're uninformed, is the way he puts it. In other words, they're just a bunch of stupid kids, which is funny because back in the 70s, that was his, bass, so to speak. Oh, he played the bass. Look at what I just did. There you go. Gene Simmons and KISS. Will they be in full makeup, though? That's the question when they receive their honors. You would think.
You have to.
And which drummer? Will it be Peter Criss, the original, or will it be, the other guy who replaced Peter Criss? I can't remember now.
Seth's uncle had a 5th anniversary party. I didn't know that was a thing. He just makes things up because he likes to have parties.
Sure.
And he had a KISS imitation band. What is it called? Like
a cover band.
A cover band.
Tribute band, yeah.
And my
awesome.
kids were terrified.
They are. They're frightening, but they're awesome.
And then as the tribute band started playing, my kids were like, "This is kind of a jam." I'm like,
the music is phenomenal,
Yes.
and honestly, my older brother, I have 3 older brothers, but the one closest to my age, he still will go to any Kiss concert that happens in Michigan. They play Tiger Stadium, or they had played Tiger Stadium annually. On their comeback tours, and they go. I mean, it sells out in Detroit. Detroit is like ground zero for Kiss, so they're very exciting. Can't wait to see them. Hopefully, we can go. That would be fun to be able to actually go to the honors this year.
Yeah, that would be really. Is this how we do it? If we just talk about the Kennedy Center every single segment or every single day,
we get an invite.
I don't know. I mean, I'm down.
I
I can
mean,
be bought off. Kennedy
it's-
Center tickets.
It's not a bad approach.
I'm an easy date, Rick Grinnell. Just saying.
That's true. I've heard that. Wait, 6:24. Coming up, Chuck Schumer says he doesn't know what Trump's talking about. He never feels threatened when he walks around D.C. Yeah, a couple things about that, Chuck. We'll get to it in a moment.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It is 6:37. Thank you for letting us into your morning routine here on O'Connor and Company. This 14th day of August. Bethany Mandel, we're halfway through August.
I don't know how it's possible. I did not consent to this.
Well, it's because you've been so busy with your podcast and Substack, The Mom Wars.
Thank you very much. It only took you an hour and a half into the show to remember.
The Lord helps those who help themselves, Bethany.
I forgot it too.
There's nothing keeping you from shamelessly plugging The Mom Wars podcast, available
and
now.
Substack.
There you go.
Everyone should subscribe.
Coming up at 7:05, the chairman of the RNC, Michael Whatley. 7:35, Washington Examiner reporter Anna Garatelli. 8:05 brings us the Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, Winsome Sears. And at 8:35, KT McFarland. That's Bethany from the Mom Wars. Have we mentioned the Mom Wars?
The Mom Wars, plural. Yep, got it. Thanks.
When last we checked in with Chuck Schumer, John Oliver, of all people, was exposing him as a horrific, duplicitous fraud. Remember this, Cut 10?
And, I have guided my political life through the Baileys.
The Baileys have guided Chuck Schumer's political life, which is a little weird given they don't exist.
That's right. Schumer went on and on and on over the course of the last, several decades, talking about the Baileys. Cut 11.
They're a middle-class couple in Massapequa, which is a suburb on Long Island.
Joe and Eileen Bailey, this middle-class couple, they bought into Reagan Republicanism in 1980. Joe and Eileen are worried about losing their jobs or their friends' jobs. The Baileys really don't believe in trickle-down. They don't believe in a whole lot of government spending, but they believe in tax breaks for kids to go to college. He's an insurance adjuster and lives in the New York suburbs. By New York standards, he makes $50,000 a year. If he lived in the middle of the country, he'd make $40,000. Wife works in medical.
I love the backstory he's created, like this whole, world.
Massapequa.
Yes. Oh,
I am from Long Island, and why didn't you choose a city that has an easier name than Massapequa?
Right. Nah, it's easier to remember. Massapequa, very easier.
So
Hicksville, who cares about Hicksville?
Also, so
Hicksville
good,
doesn't sound ethnic enough. I know my Long Island.
I'm
Come
so
on.
proud of you.
My Long Island is what I meant to say. All right, so there's Schumer. Now, after that devastating screwing by John Oliver, taking flack from the left, which tells you something about, where Chuck Schumer stands with the left in this country, you would think he'd be a little sheepish. No. He was right out there yesterday doing more media, this time with a podcast. It appears to be run by a 12-year-old who's not yet had his first shave.
Unlike you, Larry.
But yeah, I'm swarthy. Take a listen to this when he was challenged about the concern over crime in Washington, D.C. And let's not forget, when he's not in Massapequa visiting the Baileys, Chuck Schumer has pretty much lived in D.C. for 40 years. Listen.
A lot of folks on the Republican side, your Republican colleagues, say that they are very scared to walk outside in D.C., that they think this is completely the right thing to do. Senator, are you scared walking around Washington, D.C. these days?
I walk around all the time. I wake up early in the morning sometimes and take a nice walk as the sun is rising around some of the Capitol and the other monuments and things, and I feel perfectly safe. They're full of it. Look, here's what they've done, Aaron. Plain and simple. Donald Trump wants to distract.
So, couple things here, Bethany. First of all, I'm pretty sure as minority leader in the Senate, you get a security detail, right?
I mean, I admire Chuck Schumer's insistence on trying to seem like a normal person. I think that it is admirable, and
you're going to give him props for that?
I do, because he tries so hard to just seem normal. And it's like he's Data from Star Trek, sorry.
Yeah, the droid.
Yes, the droid. And he tries so hard, and he almost gets it every single time. And it's like the little engine that could, and he just can't. He can't quite get to normal.
But unlike Data, Chuck Schumer lies. You see, Data was not programmed to deceive. Chuck Schumer does. No one... I walk around the monuments. First of all, walk around Southeast D.C.
Right, exactly.
Walk around the U Street corridor, perhaps 14th Street. The gentrified neighborhoods after dark. Chuck, It's not about what happens at the Washington Monument, where there is a constant police presence.
Right.
Number two, he has a security detail. Number three, remember earlier in the year when he wanted to go on a book tour? But the crazy Antifa crowd were so angry at him, partly over supporting Israel and partly over voting for the budget. I'm looking at the headline right now. Senator Chuck Schumer's book tour postponed for security concerns amid funding vote controversy. And he was only going to 3 cities. He was going to New York, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. And he was so concerned over violent attacks in Washington, D.C. that he canceled his book tour, Bethany. So he's just a liar.
No, he canceled. I mean, but he's a liar because he's a liar. He actually canceled his book tour because the book tour was about anti-Semitism, and he didn't want to talk about anti-Semitism. That's why he canceled the book tour. So he lies about the lies about the lies. So, of course, he's going to keep the Baileys from Massapequa in his back pocket because that's the last backstory that he memorized perfectly. I, too, would keep going back to that well.
You know what would have been great? He says, I don't feel unsafe in Washington, D.C. My friends, the Baileys, provide constant
they visit
security
me.
For me.
They're with me all
Bailey's,
the time.
He's huge. He's a beast. He carries too.
The
he
Baileys are
guns.
his imaginary friend that he keeps with him all the time.
A little bit more on Chuck Schumer in a moment. We're up against it here, but he just nominated a Kennedy to be on the America 2025 Commission, probably one of the dumbest. Jack Schlossberg, youngest of Caroline Kennedy Schlossberg's 3 children. He got the bid from Chuck Schumer because he's been very anti-Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's sort of led the charge against what a fascist his uncle is. So, of course, he got rewarded.
So it's a really interesting thing that the Kennedys are doing because they've just decided, and I think just liberals in general, they've decided to lean very, very, very far into this like angry, very hysterical Trump opposition. I don't totally understand the strategy of, a second term continually calling him a fascist and all these things. And,
right, he's not running anymore.
Right,
yeah, but
right.
they have to punish Bobby for hurting the party. See, they're not Irish, they're not Catholic, they're not American, they're not even Kennedys. They're just Democrats. That's the religion, that's the identity, that's the ethnicity. You go against that and you get punished.
But this is antithetical to everything you learn in like marketing 101. When you want to sell something, be positive, be exciting, be something that you want to be a part of. Yeah, and this is not that. I don't understand.
644.
Later this morning in the Chris Plant Show, President Trump has already cleared out more than 70 homeless encampments, all left behind by Joe Biden. 9 a.m. on WMAL.
Bethany.
What do you want
Mandel
from me? Oh,
is
hi.
with
Good
us
morning.
all morning. I will shout at you. You've got an update here for Maryland homeschool parents. You are one of those people. Heather Hunter, our executive producer, is one of those people. There's lots of parents in Maryland who have chosen homeschooling for one reason or another over the last few years. And so, of course, the Maryland government wants to crack down on that sort of independence, don't they?
Well, the concern is that they might. So I wanted to put this on the radars of all of your listeners. Homeschoolers or not, because the freedom to educate your children according to your values and your standards, it's a universal thing. All parents should have this right. So the Maryland State Department of Education, the MSDE, is reviewing all of their homeschool regulations. And the fear from some folks that I'm talking to is that they will decide to cut down these freedoms, because the problem is there's too many liberty-minded Marylanders who are educating their children. And so with our growing ranks, they're a little threatened, perhaps. And so I posted it on Twitter, but the Maryland Family Institute posted some great sort of talking points, and all you have to do is just email the folks who are doing the regulatory review and basically say, leave us alone. All the regulations are fine. We don't need you to fix it. It's the famous Ronald Reagan slogan, I'm here from the government, I'm here to help.
Yeah.
We don't want your help. We're not interested in your help. And so I posted it on Twitter. Bethany Shondark is my Twitter. And Larry O'Connor, of course, is going to retweet it.
Sure, I will. Yes, definitely. But the Maryland Family Institute for Homeschool, they're a really strong organization, right?
Yeah, Jim Chambath is fantastic. They're doing great stuff at the Maryland Family Institute. And they're sort of sounding the alarm a little bit so that hopefully, what often happens in these scenarios is they'll try to change the regulations, and that's when parents freak out. And so they're trying to be preemptive here. Yeah, and say, tell them no before they even think about it.
Every year they try to do this. The same thing in California. But I've noted, because we homeschooled our children for quite some time, and our youngest child just graduated high school. He was homeschooled the entire time. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, it is literally better on homeschool parents in California than in Maryland right now. Maryland has more restrictions on homeschool parents than California. California's trying to change that. Our friend Kira Davis has been fighting it yearly, but that's how it is right now. So
I just wrote
an eye out,
a crazy piece for the Washington Examiner about Illinois. They're coming for us.
Yes, they certainly are. It's 6:53.